Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pro Wrestling World Talks with Dan and Mac.
Actually, before we were recording today's episodes, again, because if you were watching us last week, you'll understand that this was kind of pre-taped for reasons. You'll find out soon enough. It was announced by Netflix that they were going up on prices for their monthly subscription yet again. Of course, if you want to watch Monday Night Raw, you now have to go do that on Netflix. Well, if you want to watch the current PLEs, you have to go on ESPN. So you have to get the ESPN bundle on top of a Netflix subscription. So that could be $50 or so a month. Hey, if you want to watch SmackDown, you also got to have access to USA Network. Oh, if you want to watch Saturday night's main event, you have to watch it on Peacock. If you want to watch NXT, you got to watch it on YouTube. If you want to watch WWE's back catalog, you can watch it on YouTube as well, because that's going to be going over there as well. Well, instead of showing the collection, open up the vault, so to speak, which we probably will be doing more episodes of that down the line.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Why? What are we talking about now?
I have no idea at this point. But I decided, even Max to chagrin, because he looked at the folder that I was working on and he's just like, what the fuck? Why didn't you tell me earlier?
I think the phrase I used was "my dude in Christ."
Yeah, I know.
My dude in Christ.
I
Give
felt
me a
bad.
little warning.
Yes, I should have. So the thing with me, folks, is that I am what is known as a collector. You can tell, right? But on this program, I've shown many times before. One of the things that I have also a massive collector on, and I have been doing it not in recent times, I have been doing it for years, has been my VHS, which went from VHS now to DVD to now DVD/Blu-ray collection of professional wrestling DVDs, features, pay-per-views, compilation discs, bootlegs, you name it. I've spent the hundreds to thousands of dollars on the stuff over the years. And I was able to kind of go through this afternoon a small piece, at least of selections that I feel is best for a wrestling fan, period. Not just someone that wants to be like me, but someone that wants to have a historic understanding of professional wrestling, or my logic, so to speak, I guess. I don't know.
So hold on a second. So I don't disagree with that statement. However, you have some stuff in here that I was like, I think you're pushing it a little bit.
What?
We'll get to that.
What do you want to talk about that? So why do you want to talk about the stuff that you feel is
No.
controversial? Okay.
No, because I don't think it's controversial per se. I think some of the stuff is maybe unnecessary. A little bit.
Fair.
A little bit.
Okay.
And we can you know what? Let's just jump it right in. Screw.
That's fine.
So again, as he mentioned, all these are pretty much DVDs or VHSs or combination thereof. I did not do an order of importance. There is some kind of an order here. I'm not going to try to explain that. But the first one is the Legends of Mid-South Wrestling. Mm-hmm. The other one, because I tried to group them together, is Heroes of World Class, Story of Von Erichs.
Yes, which actually this on the right, the Von Erichs one, that can be found on YouTube. It's about a 3-hour documentary.
Yes.
I would consider a companion piece to go with The other, the Triumph and Tragedy World Class, which can also be found on YouTube, but is also one of the selections here on my on this episode where I talk about World Class Championship Wrestling.
So, just real quick, it should be actually next. So, Triumph and
Yes.
Tragedy of World Class Championship Wrestling is next, along with Rise and Fall, WCW, and ECW.
Rise and Fall of WCW can also now be found on the WWE Network,
That
on
is
the
correct.
WWE page on
I think they both
on
can't they?
YouTube.
ECW as well, no?
ECW not yet.
Okay.
ECW currently does not have a home online.
Gotcha.
I still think that that's going to be kind of a weird thing to cross, only because the fact that we're talking about a company that, a blood and guts company. I did not put a lot of other ECW selections on this, at least from WWE, on this show, only because of the fact that
You put the important ones in.
but those weren't WWE produced.
No, they weren't.
Those were ones because all the music is there and everything's still
Okay.
the way it was. And the way that ECW has to be consumed, unless you're watching Rise and Fall of ECW, because it's a very good documentary, even done by WWE from their standards, because WWE has a history of being the writer and curator of the history of professional wrestling, that they're the greatest wrestling company ever. No one's been able to touch them.
Yeah, it's very revisionist history because
Very
for
revisionist.
83 or so weeks, WCW did.
Yes. I did like the rise and fall of WCW. However, I do mention a better set that I think explains the WWE and WCW war better. But yes, I feel like all three of these are excellent as far as documentaries and also match compilations, kind of from each company to get a better understanding of the history of the wrestling business.
Right. I want to stick with WCW for a minute here. Sorry, I moved my cursor. So they have a box set for Sting that was WWE produced, and also Sting is on the cover along with Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan here of Starrcade: The Essential Collection, also WWE.
So that's not the original cover for the Starrcade one. The Starrcade one should have had Dusty Rhodes on it.
That would have made sense.
Yes, but of course, I don't know if this was a PAL release, which PAL is a European region code. That's something that a lot of probably people don't understand. If I say PAL version, that means it could be from Europe because of their region code, and they could have different editions of the same disc of America. It could have different artwork or even different match compilations. The Sting one here, there was actually two sets that they came out with for Sting. One was the kind of best of Sting, and then the second one was the Sting Enter the Light, which ended up becoming, I feel like, their best work that they've done with, like, as far as features is concerned, because there's a biographical disc, kind of went through his history from WCW leading up to the point of him signing with WWE.
Right.
And then on top of that, too, a compilation of matches, which include the match that he had with Diamond Dallas Page in 1999 on Nitro, which I feel like is one of the best matches in the Monday Night Wars history, which does not get talked about enough, where Sting went on to beat Diamond Dallas Page one night, random night on Nitro, and then the end of the night, DDP won like a 4-way to get the title back. WCW 99, folks.
Yeah.
But
seriously,
the match was excellent. This made it onto the compilation. I believe Flair and him from Great American Bash 88, not Great American Bash, but Clash of the Champions 88 also made it on here. Some other really good ones. So it's a great biography to go along with a great set of matches to go with it, plus in Blu-ray format, which when you make a there's several things sometimes in formats we don't notice much of a difference, but I feel like with Blu-ray, especially from DVD to Blu-ray, there is a significant difference in picture quality. So I feel like that switching to Blu-ray for some of these, some of this stuff, especially like older footage, has been excellent.
they clean it up a lot.
They clean it up a lot.
They do, yeah. All right, so let's move on a little bit here. So next one is Undertaker, the Streak 20-0, and I put next to it Hell in the Cell because there are so many moments with the Undertaker and Hell in a Cell matches that it's kind of hard not to put those two together.
The Blu-ray disc, love you. Good night.
I love you too.
Maxis, love you too.
Love you.
Love you.
The Streak, the 20-0 Blu-ray set, is the first 20 matches of the Streak.
Yeah.
So there's the historical significance of that, to have that as a companion piece, also to have an HD quality, to have probably, especially to the last, I'd like to say 4 or 5 or 6 matches of that Streak are some of the best matches in Mania history. The Hell in the Cell box set, this box set was released in 2007, 2008. This has every Hell in the Cell match between 1997 and 2007. So that covers a ton of ground. We're talking the first matchup with going back from Taker, HBK, Taker, Mankind, all the way to 2007 between Taker and Batista at Survivor Series 2007. So, and perfect Mac putting both of these together because it's like they almost go hand in hand. But yeah,
Dude, I mean, look at the pictures. He's in like 3 or 4 of those pictures on the cover. He's in there with Austin. He's in there with Kane. He's doing the leg drop on somebody. I think it's The Rock. Maybe I can't even tell. So I mean, he made it famous. I don't see the Mankind match, but I'm sure it's there.
The Hell in the Cell box set is probably something too you could probably pick up on the cheap.
Because, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely one you could probably pick up on the cheap. But this is definitely one because it's like this covers the first 10 years, and there are a lot of these that just didn't make it to other sets, which is surprising.
You know, it's funny because there are some a little bit later that are different stipulation matches, maybe, or stuff like that. I'll say it that way for reasons because I don't want to give it away. But I almost put them with the Hell in a Cell match, but I was like, I need to put Taker with something important, and he did. As I said, I feel that he definitely made these matches famous. You know, the match with HBK and stuff, sure. The match with Austin, with Kane, with Mankind. I mean, he put Hell in the Cell on the map, and I look at other Hell in the Cells, and I'm just like, it does not feel the same without the Undertaker. Sometimes it just doesn't. But then we'll move on from there. I struggled to put CM Punk and Brock Lesnar with anybody else, but since they're both going to be in Mania this year, I figured why not. So CM Punk, the Best in the World edition on Blu-ray, and then the Brock Lesnar box set as well.
That's a steelbook too.
It is steel, I can tell. Yeah,
I that is the only wrestling Blu-ray that I actually have on. Having a steelbook, which was a Best Buy exclusive, and the main reason I got it was because of the fact that it had the John Cena Brock Lesnar match from SummerSlam 14.
Of course.
Like, I have to have this on HD. I mean, this is a must-have. Which, to me, these sets go hand in hand as far as being anti-John Cena, because these have 2 of the biggest John Cena losses I could think of in the history of the industry. But 2 of my absolute favorites here, but two of the most significant talents of the last 25 years, not just in WWE, but also, I think, in all of professional wrestling / combat sports. Brock, a little bit more successful in the combat sports sense.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
You know, Punk at least, though,
He
has
tried.
notoriety as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Next pairing was a little bit more tricky, obviously, but we have Viva la Raza, the Legacy of Eddie Guerrero, 3-disc set, and No Holds Barred.
I believe the European version of the Eddie Guerrero set has 5 discs. And the 5 discs, the 4 and the 5 discs are the 2 tribute shows, the one from Raw and then the one from SmackDown.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Because this set came post after he passed away.
No, of course it did. Yeah.
But I do feel like it is the absolute best compilation of matches from, in my opinion, one of the most underrated talents in the history of the industry. And so as far as historical significance is concerned, you're going to want to have everything you can possibly can on this guy and in his work, and just the talent that he was, his vignettes. Eddie Guerrero is one of the few guys in the history of the industry that is one of the greatest workers, that also turned out to be one of the greatest characters in the history of the industry too, and was able to pull that off seamlessly. And then, of course, not many people have this on Blu-ray. I do.
Not many people have this, period, Dan.
Is that a bad thing?
That's subjective.
That's subjective. It is absolutely subjective. But this is a modern masterpiece, one of the best films ever made. You know it, and I know it.
All right, that's the show. That's the show. Goodbye.
No, it's not. It's not the show. It's not.
Goodbye.
You know what's funny is I actually had to just I just took a look at the No Holds Barred action figure box set that I have, because every so often I love looking at it because it's in the shape of a VHS box set.
I no shit thought when you were reaching for that drink that you were reaching for that box, and I would have screamed at you.
No.
But yeah, I know you own it. We all have our guilty pleasures, I guess.
We're gonna watch that movie someday. So.
Oh, jeez. Next up, I struggled to put The Rock with anybody, but it is the Best of Saturday Night Main Event and Monday Night War. Know Your Role, The Rock.
Well, if you're a Hulkamaniac, you got to have the Saturday Night's Main Event box set, just because of, but also to the significant moments that happened on the show.
Oh,
that
100%.
That was kind of their build-up for all those big shows back then. It was Saturday Night's Main Event, and the historical significance of everything that was put on there, including the Orndorff and Hogan cage match. I believe too the Macho Man and Hogan, the Mega Powers not colliding, but forming. Then of course the breakup, the famous breakup before WrestleMania 5. It's all there, and then you have this Rock set, which is the volume 2 of the Monday Night War box set, which again on Blu-ray with the first one coming out, the first Shots Fired.
We'll talk about the other one. Yeah,
they are both extremely critically acclaimed.
Yeah,
I was able to get those on Grove Entertainment a few years ago when WWE stopped selling DVDs. They got out of the physical media format at the end of 2023. The last disc to be released historically for WWE, physical media wise, was Survivor Series 2023. So the last thing shown on disc was CM Punk. Return.
Yeah, that's funny. I put this one here just to kind of focus on The Rock, though, more than anything else. We will talk more about Saturday Main Event a little bit later, as well as the Monday Night Wars. But as I said, I put more of the stipulation stuff together. So we have bloodbath, wrestling's most incredible steel cage matches, Falls Count Anywhere, and the best of King of the Ring.
Yeah. The King of the Ring set includes the Undertaker Mankind match on Blu-ray, so that's a good reason to have it. And then on top of that, too, I believe it has a lot of the tournament matches, actually from '93, with when Brett went on to have that incredible tournament.
Yep.
He ended up beating Razor, Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, he's on it. I'm just going to read the people off real quick. So it's Edge, Lesnar, King Booker, Kurt Angle, I believe that's William Regal, Ken Shamrock, Triple H, King Bret Hart, Steve Austin, and Sheamus. Those are all on the cover of it.
And then we have the Falls Count Anywhere matchup set, which includes some really groovy stuff, including I believe there's some Steve Austin, a lot of stuff from like the Attitude Era.
Oh, of course. I figured it just by looking at Steve on the front.
And then we have the steel cage matchups, which this is the first set they did. The second one I really was not a big fan of. I own it, but I'm not like, it's not something I would recommend. This I would recommend just because of the big selling point, I think, for people would be Bret Hart and Owen in the cage from SummerSlam '94. There's also some other really, really good ones. More highlights on some of them, but there's some early one. I think there's Bruno and Stan Hansen in the cage. Like it's really, like it is a really, really good set. I would again buy this one over the second one that they released, I think in like 2010, 2011. Yeah.
Yep. I think that there's a couple here, but I see Rick in the corner, so I had to figure that we should just talk about Rick next.
Yes. This is like the Holy Trinity. I remember I had the T-shirt for the Ric Flair and Four Horsemen one. There was a time in my life where I think people just knew I got a new DVD when I got a new T-shirt because it was just
maybe
like because they would just give me the free shirt with the DVD.
Yeah, but dude, back then though, the shirts were like less than $20 a lot of the time.
Oh, it was amazing.
I remember going to the shop in my hometown and going to this place that had wrestling T-shirts in town, and literally I would walk out with 3 shirts for like $35.
Oh, it was great.
It was awesome. Now it's like you're paying maybe that for 1 shirt, depending.
I know. Well, if you find the right places, I mean, it is nice though. You can buy the older designs now for like nothing. That is like you're spending a little. Yeah. You're spending $35, but it's better than buying the vintage like original. You know, like the Other Side Jackass Steve Austin shirt that I was actually finally able to buy because someone I know prints it. And, you know, it's like I'll spend $38 for that shirt because of the fact that I'm not spending $75 or $100 because it's the original vintage.
It depends. I will say this because you mentioned before on the last episode about the 316 day. And I remember going on a WWE shop and looking at probably the Danhausen shirt, just using that as an example, but it probably was that shirt, not for nothing. And the shipping cost alone, I was like, forget it. Forget it.
My guy, go to, and I'm going to give them a free plug right now because I'm a nice guy and I've done enough business with some people. Go to Extreme Wrestling Shirts. Google Extreme Wrestling Shirts and just go to the Steve Austin section. You'll thank me later. Just do that now. Your dreams will be answered in minutes. You will just be like, oh my God, This is everything I could ever want in life. Especially one of the zip-up hoodies they have, because you just be like, oh, God. Everything I could possibly want. So this is, in a lot of ways, the holy trinity for me as far as wrestling is concerned. Especially that middle set. That middle set between 2003 and 2005, I probably wore that shit out. And then when I got in 2007, getting the Ric Flair Four Horsemen set, and then 2008, they released the definitive collection. So for like a 5-year period, they released like 3 absolute. It was like the extended edition releases of the Lord of the Rings trilogy for wrestling fans. And this was it. The Ric Flair sets. The first one was more of a match compilation. The second one was more of a feature on the Horseman and Flair itself, and then a compilation of matches. And then the third one was a retrospective on Flair's career, but it was 3 discs. So the first disc was kind of a retrospective biography. And then the second and third disc were match compilations, promo compilations. So from that perspective, if you're a Ric Flair fan, nut job like myself, this is where you want to go. This is the absolute set that you want to be able to. These 3 sets are where you kind of want to start. There are some other matches thrown around, like in the WCW box set, you'll be able to see the missing Steamboat match. It's not included in the Ultimate Collection. Some other matches that you thought should run the Ultimate Collection are on the Definitive Collection or the Ric Flair Four Horsemen Collection. So it really kind of varies a lot for a lot of people, the kind of what they it fills a lot of gaps. If one set doesn't have it, another one probably will.
Yep, I agree. What about the Horseman one?
Like I said, more biographical.
Okay.
But it still has a lot of really decent match compilations and promos. It does kind of really good, give a really good history too of everything. I think it's the only one too that has a certain someone on there really kind of featured. I tried to leave that person off my selections, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, but he's only mentioned kind of briefly.
I mean, he was only there for a cup of coffee anyways, I feel
That's
like,
true.
compared to some of the other members, so makes sense.
Their main focus is on, of course, the 80s, so.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. So I got 2 of my favorite wrestlers together. Yes. Bret the Hitman Hart and Macho Man Randy Savage, the Ultimate Collection.
Well, the Bret Hart one almost became if Bret Hart did not kind of fight and say that he wanted his own box set, he wanted to be the producer of it, it almost became a version of the Ultimate War, of the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior. They had 2 cuts, and the cut was released as the one that Bret was produced, but another cut was going to be extremely negative. It was going to be the
shocking
Ultimate Warrior as screw job that they kind of gave to Bret, that they gave to Warrior. They were going to do the same thing to Bret. But Bret came to terms, shook his hand. I still remember that summer of just Bret's at WWF headquarters, and all of a sudden the picture of him and Vince shaking hands. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the DVD gets released, and you're just like, oh, okay. And then the Savage release was way overdue. I think this came out in like 2009. I was just like, shouldn't this come out in like 2005, 2006 at least? But it was nice to get the set out. again, both a lot of stuff you can argue kind of repeated in them. Like they repeated a little bit, like you could see them in other sets.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of other stuff in there too that's like really under the radar. Like Savage's debut at the Garden, his first WWF match is truly and utterly insane. It was against Rick McGraw, and it was just nuts. He had everybody in the audience ready to kill him within 2 minutes, and he didn't.
That's awesome.
And Brett, of course, you'll be able to watch the master craftsman at work. Plus, the documentary is really, really good in it. So, yeah, these were both easy selections, both reasonably priced. I believe also you could probably pick them up reasonably priced. Everything I feel like that I put in this, except maybe for some of the Blu-rays, those are a little expensive. Especially the No Holds Barred one. That is really, really expensive, which is surprising, especially the Blu-ray. But
that is
everything else I feel like is reasonably priced.
That is surprising about No Holds Barred, though. That is definitely surprising.
Yes.
All right. So I put this one to talk about it. So I put this one first. This is the first Monday Night War one. This is the Shots Fired one. On the screen is DX when they rolled up on WCW with the tank. We already kind of talked about this, but let's dive a little bit deeper. So with the next ones, we have one side with the NWO, the Revolution, and obviously I know this isn't Hollywood Hulk Hogan, but it is Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Anthology.
Okay. So let's talk about the Monday Night Wars first. We'll get that out of the way. So the other one that was the Rock set too. This was the WWF network. The WWE network decided to produce a serious kind of mini series, docu-series on the Monday Night Wars. And they actually tried to make it look a little bit more than just, well, we kicked our ass. They got Keith David to be actually the narrator for it. And they got everybody involved, the kind of archival footage, even from Ted, to kind of.
I mean, they owned it at that point, but yeah.
But still, they took it seriously, which was surprising. Like, there's a number of episodes that they gave ECW their own episode. They gave Goldberg his own episode. And, they gave Russo his own episode. I feel like they tried to look at it from every single possible angle. Of course, it's going to be slanted, but
revisionist history.
Yes. But at the same time, I feel like they actually tried. And I also feel like for the history buff and also to have a better understanding on the industry, these sets are almost must-haves. The one on the cover of this with the DX one and then the Rock one, those are definitely ones that definite ones I think that anybody that is a history buff needs in their collection. The next two discs too that Mac had brought up earlier, which was the NWO Revolution set, which this pretty much has everything you could think of on Blu-ray. Again, his historic Bash at the Beach 96, the historic moments in between, the vignettes. I believe also the matchup that they had on Raw of the NWO versus Rock and Austin before WrestleMania X8. There is a Legends of Wrestling roundtable with Kevin Nash talking about the NWO. There's another NWO disc that was released in 2002 that's also very good, but that's out of print, and they got rid of out of print very early because of the Scott Hall release. and that was NWO Back in Black. I was able to pick that up. What's funny is I got that, like, when it got released, I bought it, and loved the disc. Then it became really hot, and decided to sell it. And then I found it at like a yard sale for like $1 a couple of years back. So I was like, oh, I'll just buy it again. Why not? And then, of course, to go along with the NWO Blu-ray set is the Hulk Hogan anthology, the Ultimate Anthology. There are 3 versions. There is a 3-disc version, a 4-disc version, which I own. But there are 2 4-disc versions. There's a 4-disc version, which I believe was an FYE exclusive. The 4th disc version was it came with 3 episodes of Hogan's No Best in the 4th disc. The 4th disc that was at Walmart was a match compilation that featured, I think, a matchup with Terry Funk and the Earthquake match from SummerSlam 90.
Why?
So
Why?
guess which one I ended up with.
Oh my goodness.
Guess which one I ended up with. The Walmart exclusive.
Of course.
Because I wanted the matches. I didn't give a shit about what. Like, this is, of course, it's every match you could think of that is important, going from Iron Sheik at Madison Square Garden. The first, I think, 9 WrestleMania matches are in this set. The first matches that he's involved, except 4, I think. So it's like,
really?
1, 2, 3.
I'm thinking 3. I don't know why I was thinking 3. 4, I get, because it was a throwaway match.
But it's all like so it's all the big matches that he's ever really had in his career. It's all in this one set. And so that's the historical significance of it. And 2, it's in one place. Like, and again, it's probably something you could find on the reasonably priced. But it's like, as far as the convenience of it, it's just like, oh, it's on disc 1. Oh, it's on disc 2.
Yeah.
So
from that standpoint, I get that.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Monday Night Wars, on the opposite end of the spectrum, we also have Steve Austin and the new and improved DX.
The Steve Austin set, there's 2 of them that have been, there was a Steve Austin set that came out in 2008, 2007, 2008 that I was never really happy with, because there were a lot of stuff that it was like, well, thanks for releasing it, but you didn't put everything I wanted on there. And this set definitely said, we're going to fix all that, and gave you a really good, like, 3-hour documentary biography to go with it. And it's everything you could possibly want on one set for Steve Austin, including, I think, one disc that's just all promos. It's rather ridiculous. Like, there's like a half a disc of like promos. And then you have the DX set, which this is not everything that happened in 97 and 98. This was everything that happened in 2006 when they reformed. Yep. And I mean everything. I'm talking about every vignette, every match.
This is a few DVDs. You can tell just by looking at it. It's quite a bit.
It was it was also one I had to get, because it was like everybody talked. Everybody was complaining in 2006. I remember it was voted some of the worst stuff on the Observer because they hated the DX reunion. Everybody I knew that summer, because I was at school that summer, I was taking summer classes, they would come back to watch Raw because they wanted to watch DX. Everybody, they didn't give a shit. People were actually excited because it was like they're out there acting like complete morons. Like,
Yep.
and it was almost like it was like a cartoon every week because Vince was like the evil billionaire, and it's just like, ooh, those damn DX guys again.
I know.
Ah, so much fun.
Speaking of Vince, actually, we have the true story of WrestleMania as well as WrestleMania 3.
Yes, the true story is kind of like a biography of like the first. It gives like an understanding of how the concept of WrestleMania started, and then to a lot of the history of the early manias, the booking philosophy, the booking of the buildings, why they're here, all that stuff. And then also too, it has a decent compilation of matches from Mania 1, 3, all the big ones. And then of course it's on HD, so it's another reason they keep it. And then the WrestleMania 3 Championship Edition. Disc A is the show in its entirety, and B's also has its entirety, but it's almost like a version of pop-up video from VH1, where like you'll be watching it, little pop-ups comes up with little facts and that type of stuff. But it's the show in its complete entirety, which is important from the historical significance of it. I didn't put the WrestleMania X7 DVD on here, which I should have. But the problem with the X7 set is it's out of print and it's extremely hard to get. It's one of those DVDs. It's like you have to spend in the hundreds of dollars to get it.
I mean, so much of the stuff is digital, but you know, from a collection standpoint, I get why you're saying that. But
Yes.
speaking of WrestleMania, I figure the next one should be Mr. WrestleMania himself. We have Shawn Michaels from the Vault, and Shawn Michaels, as I said, Mr. WrestleMania.
From the Vault, I actually remember the day that came out because me and Billy went to the store and got it like very early. Like we actually waited for the store to open to go buy it because we're just like, we need to go get it. And then we went and we watched all the matches like back at my house because we had nothing to do. We were in 20s. We were stupid. And I always liked the compilation of matches that were involved in this. And this is kind of started from his AWA years to his kind of comeback in 2002. And some really good matches were involved in the in his 96 reign. I think also the match that he had with The Undertaker at Bad Blood is also in this. The match he had with Diesel, him and Kevin Nash are on commentary on an alternative track. They were watching that match that they had, the one in Omaha, Good Friends, Better Enemies match. So they're talking that. So they're giving commentary on that matchup. And then, of course, his entire WrestleMania history, except for, I think, WrestleMania 20 for reasons, is not involved in that compilation. I wonder why.
Can't imagine why that might be.
Can't imagine. But having those matches on Blu-ray, except for the match at WrestleMania 20, because I have no idea why that's not there.
Can't imagine why that might be.
Exactly.
And if anybody really doesn't know, I please educate yourself. That's all I'm gonna say.
Just figure it out.
Educate yourself.
Just educate yourself. So, but instead of minus that match, we're still talking about every other WrestleMania match that he's ever had in his career, including the Mania 12. So it's just, again, and it's on Blu-ray. So it's in HD. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I'm someone that I'm a preservationist, and with the way that streaming has gone and the way that these licenses are lapsing, I'm always someone that wants to be able to preserve the history of things. So this is why I'm doing this episode. But two, Shawn Michaels' career needs to get celebrated, and I hope it doesn't get lost, uh, on YouTube somewhere.
I mean, even if it's on YouTube, I don't care as long as it
Oh, I
stays.
know.
As long as it stays there
I'm-
is the thing.
As long as it stays on YouTube, I'm fine with that. Right.
Yep. So next we have the history of the WWE Championship and the history of the World Heavyweight Championship.
WWE Championship. It's a history for the title from like 63 to 2005. And then the and then the World Heavyweight Championship one. This is a compilation of matches from 1905 to like
Yeah, I'm looking right now. So WWE Championship is 1963 to 06, and World Heavyweight Championship, it's the glare. I'm telling you, it's 1905 to I believe 2009.
Yes. So that's and the World Heavyweight Championship collection includes the Kurt Angle Undertaker matchup from No Way Out 2006. A few other really good classics, especially from WCW. Ric Flair's in the set, I believe, with Magnum TA. And then the WWE Championship ones, Bruno, Hogan, Austin, all the big names you could think of are also in that set. And again, preserving history. That's the important stuff.
Yep, 100%. Maybe not preserving history here per se, but we have the best of WWE in your house and the Road Warriors.
The best of In Your House, again, a lot of those matches gets upgraded to Blu-ray because there were some hidden gems really from those matches.
100%, yeah. There were definitely some good ones in there.
Definitely some good ones. And then I believe it also includes that remember that No Way Out in Texas match that they had where it was right before WrestleMania 14. And I think Austin was a part of this tag match, and the crowd response that he got was absolutely massive. But Austin too, one of my favorite moments was he had a trash can, ended up throwing it and hitting like Billy Gunn like right in the middle of the match.
Yeah. Yep.
So damn hard. Yep. I think that's in this compilation, but there's also a few other ones that are absolute classics. And then the Road Warriors, one of the best biographies that they've ever done, and two, a great compilation of, in my opinion, probably the greatest tag team of all time that's not named the Young Bucks. Fucking kidding. I'm fucking.
All right, moving on.
Yeah.
I feel like I saved most of the ECW for last because I needed like a palate cleanser. I felt like after all of that, so I put these two together: two hardcore legends, Terry Funk and Cactus Jack.
So the reason that I talked about earlier, where I said that the ECW, other than the ECW Rise and Fall DVD, I did not put any of the ECW releases from WWE onto this countdown kind of compilation, so to speak, of if you wanted to start a wrestling collection for physical media, this is kind of the guide I'd want you to start with. And the reason for that is because of, and there's another reason too, where I don't think ECW really kind of got a lot of value on the network and a lot of value on YouTube, is because of the use of copyrighted music. ECW used copyrighted music to its advantage in their production, especially with music videos and vignettes. They're very, very good with it. And also entrances. Especially when you're talking about the Sandman, you're taking something away if you don't use Enter the Sandman for the Sandman.
Oh, 100%. But to tack on to those points, these are 8 disc sets.
I know.
That's, and you can see it on the Cactus Jack one because they're showing the back here too. And it is so many matches.
These can be found on high spots. You're going to spend
Oh, you're gonna spend money on these, yeah.
No, about $30.
That's not bad, actually.
$35 for
Okay.
these sets. I've gotten them over time, only because of the fact that, again, I'm a preservationist. These were put together by RF Video, who own the rights to the originals, or I don't know how they do it. I'm not going to ask questions, but they were able to. Which these are also now out of print. They do not make DVDs anymore. RF Video does. So
Right.
these are kind of they're here till they're good. They're here till they're gone, and the importance of these again. These are uncut. These are put together compilations from the master tapes. A lot of these are fan cams. This is raw stuff, but it's also probably the most raw, probably the best possible way that you can watch ECW is this. Terry is one of the most historical figures in the company's history. So is Cactus's. This gives you everything that they've done throughout their entire career there, including, I think, some of the highlights from Terry's roast that they did for him the weekend of Barely Legal. And then this is Cactus, everything from 94 through his 96 departure to go to WWF to become Mankind. So.
Yep. All right. I think we got a couple more here. So we have the Shane Douglas in ECW and Public Enemy in ECW.
Shane Douglas thing again. This is everything from 93 to about 99. So you're getting everything from the rise of the franchise and the NWA Championship Throwdown to everything in between, the promos, the guys that he worked with, including Al Snow, including Taz, including Raven, a few others. And then you have the Public Enemy set, which, they were the Dudleys before the Dudleys became the most mainstream act to ever really come out of that company as far as tag teams are concerned. Public Enemy were also the first tag team to come out of that company to get a real big payday with WCW. But they were using tables before the Dudleys were. The Dudleys just made it cool and fashionable to be using tables. But the Public Enemy, they did their early match work was pretty revolutionary with ECW. And then, too, probably some of the most underrated, funny vignette work that they did, too, in 94, 95. So.
Yep. And I think we have about one more. I'm going to check here. Oh, we have two more, sorry. Or technically four, I guess, two more slides. So this one is ECW, Mike Awesome versus Tanaka. And we have Rob Van Dam, the complete ECW TV title reign.
So, Tanaka and Awesome, this is pretty much everything from like a 2-year period, which included the 99 championship trade-off, which also includes the matchup that those guys had at November to Remember 99, which also, in my opinion, one of the most underrated world title matches, not only in ECW history, but of the year in 99, just in any company period. Tanaka really helped Awesome become a massive star in this industry for a couple of years there. Well, not a couple of years, because it could have been a couple of years. It should have been a couple of years. But then somebody decided to go, well, we're going to name the Fat Chick Thriller. What?
I forgot about that.
We get the Partridge Family butts.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my God. But then we have the complete Rob Van Dam Television Championship collection, which is everything from April of 98 until January of 2000. We're talking everything. Every championship title defense that he had on pay-per-view, on TV, and of course on fan cam if it's available. So every Jerry Lynn match, every Lance Storm match, every other matchup you could think of that he had between A and B. Sabu is involved in this as well. Taz, I think, is involved. This is everything. And in my opinion, and I've said it on many, many occasions before, this is probably the greatest mid-card championship reign of any performer ever. At least in that period of time. But sensational. And to have this kind of in all in one place, unbelievable. Like it's well worth the investment because it's Rob Van Dam. That's all I need to say.
That's true, but I think I'll do you one better, and I think we'll close the show with these last two here, but it is ECW, in my opinion, their best storylines, and it is a Raven and Sandman feud and the Dreamer and Raven feud.
Well, Rob Van Dam, again, was going to give you the athletic contests of a lifetime and some of the greatest feats in the industry, while the Raven, Dreamer, and Raven Sandman feuds are just psychological warfare to another level.
Yep.
Two of the biggest blood feuds, not only in ECW history, but in professional wrestling history to happen in the last 35 years, in my humble opinion. Sandman and Raven actually was able to turn a 7-year-old son against his father. And then you have Dreamer and Raven that somehow the babyface did not beat the heel for 2.5 years. And there was an argument that the day or morning of the show from Dreamer and Raven, where Raven should have beat Dreamer that night, and Paul Heyman looked at both of them and said, no, we're not doing that because Raven is leaving to go to WCW. Like, I can't have him beat you the last night out of the company. But they were still trying to sell it at that point, like, to have Raven still go over. But Raven was leaving to go to the other company. It's like, come on, guys. But that's how good of a feud. Two of the greatest feuds, not only in wrestling history, well, not only in ECW history, but in wrestling history, period. There was something else ECW that I kind of wanted to put out there, only because the fact that it's something, because I didn't put really any pay-per-view selections, very few anyways. One that I should have put was the release for ECW One Night Stand 2006. And the reason for that, is because the second disc was Barely Legal pay-per-view in its entirety. And so not only do you get One Night Stand 2006, which includes Rob Van Dam finally winning the championship and beating John Cena, but the second disc included the Barely Legal pay-per-view that happened in 1997, which was ECW's inaugural pay-per-view. So the historical significance of that was pretty big. The only thing that they changed about it, they dubbed over music, but everything else was kind of left as is. So a rare win on WCW's WWS part to kind of show a pay-per-view in its original format as best as they could.
Right. Yep. Too bad about the copyrighted music, though, but it is what it is. At least they released it, period, but I get it.
Just spend the money and get the unedited box sets.
I know, it's crazy.
But yeah, that's my humble opinion for your starter. I want to get into wrestling physical media because I'm tired of paying Netflix, or WWE doesn't have everything out anymore. I need to be able to
watching ads on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Well, at this point, I mean, I'm pretty close. I think I should just get YouTube Premium because it's like I'm on this thing constantly.
I'm refusing. I'm not giving them my money. I'm not giving them my money. Sorry. Pay me, and I will then give you my money. Sure, but
Fucking pay me.
yeah. Till then, no, thank you.
All right. Well, on that note, folks, I think my voice is finally just like I'm tapping out, boy.
Yep.
We're done. But if anybody has any questions or any thoughts on physical media, leave any comments here on our YouTube channel on the Diamond Podcasting Productions.
Or if you got something to add to the collection.
Yeah, just let me know. Like, if you want suggestions or anything like that, feel free to ask me. Feel free to hit me up on social media. Anything you want. I'll answer any questions, give you any guidance or anything of that nature. And I'll also be like, don't waste your money on this title. Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
but we will see you all soon, folks. Bye.
Bye.